Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Summer Slam Spectacular Countdown Show. We're going to count down the top 50 teams in the Summer Slam. We'll actually, because this is a special night and a special show, we'll make it 51 teams. So I am here with my highly esteemed colleagues, at least moderately esteemed colleagues, Carl Boccuti and J Michael DeAngelis. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Johnny, thanks for having me.
It is nice of me to have you. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through the teams. We're going to, the way the deal's set up, the top 30 teams make the big dance at the end, and then the final week we'll have 5 teams that can still get in as a wild card. So as of right now, we've got 21 teams on the outside looking in. We've got a lot of teams that are really scared right around that like 22 to 29, 30 area where like they could get booted out. And then we've got some teams that are challenging to be number one, including a couple of interesting new teams. So a lot to talk about. My backdrop, of course, Leisure Suit Larry, one of the more popular answers this week at Quizzo. And we were talking before we came on the air about the Leisure Suit Larry question. Seemed like every team, not everybody on the team knew it, but typically there was one male on each team that knew the answer.
Interesting, little test case of how Quizzo teams are built. Yeah, every team had that one guy.
Yes.
I will say, in my hosting experience, there was at least 2 teams where it was one lady who knew that answer.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's the thing. We're in this brave new world, and anybody can be a Leisure Suit Larry fan in this new America. But for the most part, my experience was it was the guy whose wife or girlfriend instantly shot him an ugly glance as soon as he shouted out the answer. I wasn't even sure in some cases it was worth the 3 points.
I think we may have affected some relationships this past week. For sure. No matter who gave the answer, there were some uncomfortable looks from their teammates.
Yes.
And I should know, because I was the guy on my team who knew it.
Well, we're going to go through once again. We're going to go through the top 50. I should have that up, since we're doing the show, but I'd had it up earlier, and then I was looking up Nolan Arenado's home away splits, and so I checked that page instead. So you're going to have to give me a second before we share the screen, and we'll go through once again. We're going to go through our top 50 teams. And figure out who is on the inside looking out and who's on the outside looking in. I don't even know if that makes sense. But here we go. We're going to start at the bottom, work our way to the top. Now, one more thing we're going to do that I should let you guys know, if you're watching at home, and needless to say, thousands of you are, if not tens of thousands, and we're going to decide this week's topic based on your suggestions. So if you're watching on Johnny Goodtimes Quizzo on Facebook, where I'm assuming this is showing.
You never know.
You never do. But if you are and you have a topic you want for this week, put it in the comments under the video. We'll add it to the wheel. At the end, we're going to spin the wheel of all of the various suggestions, except for the ones that suck. And we will decide what this week's topic will be. We've already got 2 out there. They are islands and South America, because as I was telling Carl earlier, I'm thinking about moving to Barbados. And
it isn't in South America.
Nope.
Look, I don't need. I don't know why I do this show with nerds. I should do it with like people. Come on, it's close. It's so close. Yeah. It's right off the coast. All right, so, all right, we're going to flip the screen, and we're going to go through our bottom few teams. We're going to talk about any of these teams that we think have a shot of rocketing up the standings in the final 2 weeks. In last place, 51st, Joshy Rich's Close Touch Salon. Now I know that's a team that's down in Atlanta, and obviously, our Deep South teams we're not expecting a lot out of. But they are currently 51st out of 51 teams. As you look through this, as you look through 42 through 51, are there any teams that hop out at either of you guys as being a team that's going to make a run these last 2 weeks?
Hardly any, Johnny, but I'd have to say that there's no eye in Quizzo. They are perennial contenders in any event that they're involved in. I've been shocked at their scores. Not sure what's going on there.
Well, I will say I think it's been difficult. They have 2 players that are actually playing in Japan.
Yeah.
So, you have to wonder if there's some time lag there. But at the same time, they're very bad at movies, and we ask a fair amount of movie questions, and that seems to really be their weakness. So I think that's really been killing them. I think the team I see that I'm kind of shocked by is Ukraine and the Membrane.
Yeah, me too.
When I host at Dock Street is always a top 2 or 3 team, and Dock Street was humming. It was like 25 teams a week, and Ukraine and the Membrane was perennially top 3 to 4. And so for them to be 43rd, the word that comes to mind is disappointment.
That's a real heartbreak. I used to play against them back at City Tap House. Rish is always my girl. I wish them the best. I'm also going to give a shout out to Meat Sweats. You talked about there's no eye in Quizzo not being strong in the movie category. That is definitely Meat Sweat's fatal flaw too. And last week really turned on me because I had promised them that I was going to suggest some movies for them to watch, and I hadn't done that yet. And so their failure to rise above 47 might be squarely on my shoulders. But they have got heart, and I think they're going to make a real run for it this week.
I like that not last place has a lot of self-awareness. Like they're not quite there, but they're not also like gunning for number 1. They're 48th out of 51, which technically is not last place and really is their only goal. Another team I'm kind of a fan of here, Red Dong, which got the team name because one of the team members misunderstood on a question that was about Red Dawn, and the captain screamed out Red Dong, which I think was a different 80s movie.
There's no better way to permanently identify yourself than a story like that.
Right. All right, let's go. We're going to go 32 through 41. And these are teams that are cutoffs 30. Let's see if we can just bump this up just a little bit so we can get all the teams that are outside looking in. All right, so we got COVID's Metamorphosis at 41, which is a pretty good team, a little disappointing to be in 41st place. They're a highly international team. I think if one of the final 2 weeks is an international quiz, I think we could see them move up in the rankings. I think Sweet Hats is a pretty solid team. But obviously the biggest disappointment on this list is Synchronized Trampoline. We're talking about a team that was in the finals of April Madness. Do you guys see any teams here that, you think are going to sneak into that top 30?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Oh, go ahead, Carl.
Yeah. Sweet Hats. I've only hosted for them once, so I don't know them well, but just judging by their scores from the World Cup and in previous events, this is a definitely out of character, their average score right now. I think that Sync Tramp they're just such a veteran team. They know how to play the game. They will find a way to sneak into the final event regardless. You can't rule them out because they've got such history, and they haven't lost any players as far as I know.
Yeah, you look at Sweet Hats and you see the high scores of 48. I mean, a 48 is a legit score. So yes, I think they've got a pretty decent shot of moving up from 35th into the top 30. J Michael, anybody you see?
Well, I'm gonna give a shout out here. I don't know that they're going to sneak into the top 30 in a traditional sense, but OK Molly Bloomer, their whole strategy for the last few weeks has to win that wild card game. That they have their eyes on that. They They know where they stand, and I think they have the passion to take it. I also know they had a rough week personally, and I want to give them a shout out. They're a great group to play with, and I wish them the best. I hope they can come back this week.
I mean, it's, the game, a lot of people think the game's all about brains, and I think people discount how much the game is about passion. And, a team that's got a lot of passion, I think can go a long ways. And so obviously we'd like to see Molly Bloomer work their way up. We'd also like to see a team logo and a team bio and history to add to the website for them. And
well, I don't want to embarrass you here live on the air, but I know they sent it to you, and they asked you last week if you could get that updated on the website, and that has not happened.
Well,
all right, let's move on to our top 30 teams.
I'm also really hoping that we get some kind of matchup between Phillies Nuts and Red Dom. Just at some point.
That would be beautiful.
Yes. I think those two being right on the cusp is going to lead to some intrigue. Now, Internet Explorers, it's a young team, and they're hanging on by a thread. J Michael obviously has some friends on Mad Princes who had a really nice. They had a really nice World Cup performance, but they're having a rough time right now.
Yeah, they are. I don't know what's going on there. I will say they had a fantastic game last week where everybody was contributing. I don't know if it was they're just drawn to the leisure topics, but they had a really strong game last week where all 7 of them were really on fire, and I want to see that continue. I don't want to see them fall out of the top 30. They're my former teammates, and I want to see them. I want to see them make to the big game.
Building them up to crush them in the end. I like it, J Michael.
Oh yes, I do want to defeat them, but I want them to be there.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of the all-time regulars here in the top, in the 21 to 30 range. We're seeing a lot of teams that we've seen for years now, and some of them happy to be here, some of them a little bit disappointing. The Branch Covidians were a Final Four team, I believe, in April Madness. They're only 23rd. Dwayne's World is the second winningest team in JGT Quizzo history. And, kind of hanging around 24. Queefer Sutherland, can't believe they don't have a logo in yet, but maybe it's best they don't. They're 27th, and obviously that's the Barts. That's a team with tons of history. So we've got a lot of, a classic team. I mean, the Missing Heads have played for 15 years. So we've got a lot of regulars here in that 21 to 30 slot. Anybody you see really with a chance to win it all, even though they've had a disappointing regular season?
Well, I got to say, I mean, having watched Texas City Players Club take the Serie B tournament in the World Cup with a perfect score, by the way, you can't rule a team like that out. They haven't dropped their lowest score yet. They've only played 5 games. They were a little late entering the league. So that 33 there will get sloughed off next week, and you can only guess that they would move up in the rankings just on that alone. I would expect a team like Branch Covidians and Dwayne's World, no matter what ranking they are in the top 30, they could pull it off. They could pull off a win in the final without a problem. Just a lot of teams here that you know who they are, you know what they're capable of. You see a lot of bizarrely low scores on their record.
I'm shocked to see that 28 as a low score on Branch Covidians.
Exactly.
Yes, that is shocking. I want to go to the comments. We've had a number. Andy says they sent their profile 3 weeks ago, and JGT still hasn't posted it. I want to make sure that we spread the hate here. I mean, it's a team effort, obviously. And so, Andy, we're going to get that up for you. Carl and I are probably going to really have it out as soon as this ends. A lot of screaming, a lot of acrimony, a lot of name calling. But when that's said,
a lot of instructing Johnny yet again how to forward an email, that kind of stuff, the age-old arguments that we've had.
Again, like you're trying, you think you can just send me an email and it's going to just pop up magically on johnnygoodtimes.com. That email also has to pass through a number of protocols and until it reaches Carl's desk. I mean, this is a major corporation. It's not something that's as easy. Like I have to send it to human resources to make sure that the logo is acceptable. It's not going to be offensive. So there's a lot of bells and whistles on the back end, guys. So if you send a logo and it takes a couple weeks, it's not because I'm just a lazy bastard. It's because we have a lot of corporate protocols we have to follow before your team logo can make it onto the website. Well, a website which is I'd say dozens, if not hundreds of people visit on a weekly basis.
So anyway, folks, send your logos directly to Carl.
Yeah, my email.
He'll put his email address at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, Carl, if you want to put your email address and just skip the middleman and send it to Carl, it'll be up in like 15, 20 seconds. But if you send it to me, it could be 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so we've got some ideas here, guys. So far, we had mentioned earlier, we're going to throw some ideas on the wheel for this week's topic for the quiz, and we've had a few. I feel like retired breakfast cereals is a bit too specific. That's one that Elle had recommended. I feel like breakfast is a legit topic. If you guys agree, then I'm going to go ahead and add that to the wheel. I like
breakfast.
I'm fine with putting that on the wheel.
Okay, let's put breakfast on the wheel. I think breakfast cereals in the 60s and 70s is a little bit too inside baseball, but we'll put breakfast on there. 90s fashion trends, again, I feel like a little too tight, but we could say 90s.
We could.
No reason we can't say 1990s just in general. We've done a 2000s week. Technology trends. Yeah, we can do technology. It's from Joanna.
Could we, Johnny, given the nature of the conversation a few minutes ago?
No, you'll be writing any technology quiz, Carl. Just I want to make sure that people don't feel uncomfortable that the old guy who is still checking his Hotmail isn't the guy writing the questions. All right, so things that aren't here anymore. How do I put that?
Things that aren't here anymore. That's the suggestion.
Like in other words, like buildings that no longer exist, bands that broke up, TV shows that are no longer on the air. But I don't know what the right word is for the
ephemera.
Is that it? Is that the word? Oh, I like ephemera. I just like saying it. Ephemera. All right.
A highbrow operation. Let's use the big words.
Yeah. Now it is highbrow, and I think old time radio shows. I will not be adding that one to the mix. I think it's a thoughtful idea, but no, we will not be doing 1940s radio. Antique toys, no. NBA, no. Board and card games. I'm not against that one.
I like it. We're coming right off a leisure week, but games in general is a great broad theme for a quiz week.
Andy suggests Temple basketball 1994 to 2001, which I think is a great topic, but one that we're probably not going to cover for fear of getting sued for having taken people's money for something they don't want to do. So, all right, so we've got a nice mix on the wheel here. We're up to 5 things on the wheel. If anybody else has any suggestions for upcoming events, we'll go over them shortly, but let's bump it up here. Let's go 11 through 20.
All right, here.
Let's look at who we got. And I got to say, the first thing that hops out to me is FFSF over Sofa Kingdom. These are 2 teams that have played for many, many years at City Tap House, at the Bards, with Sofa Kingdom 90% of the time getting the upper hand. And now FFSF up by 1 point. And, I think it's not just a matter of who's number 1, who's number 30. There's also kind of that personal vindication. And I think an FFSF victory over Sofa Kingdom over 8 weeks would be huge for the program.
It'd be unbelievable. Sofa Kingdom, again, my old City Tap House rivals as well. I've had the pleasure of hosting them the last couple of weeks. And they been a lot of pressure on team captain Koob's shoulders, a lot of coin tosses that have just not been called in the right direction when it comes down to those 50-50s. He's had a real rough run of making the wrong call, but that's a team you do not want to underestimate ever.
Never sleep.
One thing real quick, I do want to give a shout out to Koob since you brought him up. Koob's birthday just passed. So I believe yesterday. So happy birthday to all-time Quizzo legend Koob, who I believe turned 45 yesterday, though I could be mistaken. I got another vote for the 90s. Carl, do you see anybody in this top 11 through 20 section that you still think is going to be a top 10 team?
Well, if we're talking about cracking into the top 10 of the rankings, that's going to get tougher and tougher to do as we only have 2 weeks left. But if we're talking top 10 finish in the final event, there's no reason to think that Careless Fister can't pull off a big score. We've seen them get perfect scores in the past. Yacht Rock is a team I would never sleep on. They've got some heavy hitters in just old school trivia on that team. I could definitely see them with the right quiz shocking everybody and winning the whole thing. And Del COVID-19, same deal. A very well-balanced team of some really strong trivia players. And these are teams that know how to play the game. They've been around for a while.
I think a sleeper team to keep your eye on is Hangin' Tough. These guys are a strong team, and they could really they could sneak out a win, particularly if they listen to their wives, who are often in the background giving them the right answers.
Are they a newer team?
They are a newer team. I think they have just started playing in the virtual world. I don't think they ever played at a bar with us, but they're a great group. I have a lot of fun playing with them, and they definitely have potential to sneak out a win for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we have this awesome situation where so many of these teams we see every week are people we've known for a long time, and that's a big part of the fun. And at the same time, it's also really cool when we get some fresh blood. Like we get a new team that's never played before, and we get to bring them into this just absolutely bizarre nerd world we've created. Like I'd like to think they're a little bit overwhelmed by the fact that three guys would take their Sunday nights at 8 p.m. and pose in front of Leisure Suit Larry while discussing the top 50 rankings of a Quizzo tournament. We've got a lot of comments. Got a lot of comments. People are really putting a lot of stuff in here. Can ingredients in Scrapple be a picture round? I think.
That is way too subjective. I'll say that much.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I want to take care of our friends in the Scrapple world, and I feel like if people know how the Scrapple's made,
the mystery's
over.
Result
in a loss in sales. Yes. So let's just let's let bygones be bygones there. John Federico of Tuesday Night Quarantine Club says the Simeone Auto Museum. I think that might be a bit specific, though. I would not be. We have in the past done like vehicles, like Transportation Week has been a fun week because you can do trains, you do planes, you do cars. That's a good one. Let's see. Cats. No, I hate cats. I have a 19-year-old cat who has recently taken to pissing on one of the corners of the couch. And it's nothing against her. I just think it's just old age, but I don't want to think about that while I'm asking questions. So no. Let's see. Ori, we were mentioning earlier, one of our favorite teams, Ukraine in the Membrane. Ori says, miracles. I don't know how we do that. Miracles. I mean, I think upsets would be a fun one.
Sure.
Yeah, I think upsets would be a good one. John says plants and flowers. our co-host Aaron says mascots
for a whole quiz.
For a whole quiz.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I don't know if I'm going to add
I
it to the
think
wheel.
it could be done. Yeah, it's a broad, you're talking sports mascots, corporate mascots, I think.
We made it like mascots and logos, even though we recently did a logo round.
Right.
I think that would be possible. I think mascots. I mean, there's so many colleges. Like, there's so many colleges with weird mascots. It would be possible. Plants and flowers, that's definitely possible. I can add that to the mix.
Sure.
We already did that flowers round, which people either loved or hated, without much in between.
That's true.
All right, so let's go through our top 10. We're going to start at number 10, All-Bond Pandemic, who, if memory serves, had a pretty solid World Cup before flaming out early in the tournament. They are currently number 10. Carl, you've got insider information on this team. You host them every week. Is this a legit contender, or are these guys just riding high on their laurels?
Very, very legit. I mean, they got knocked out in the World Cup by the eventual champion, which, as you know, is J Michael's team. They have gotten better and better every week of SummerSlam, it seems. They are a well-balanced team. They're very bi-coastal. They're half the teams in San Francisco and Portland. The rest are in Philly and Boston. They pull from all different areas of expertise. They're a really fun team to play with. They're one of those teams where the banter is worth the price of admission. And I think they have it. They had a perfect score this week. One of only two teams to do that. Anything could happen.
I do want to mention, for the record, before we forge ahead, a lot of comments. So there are some people watching and presumably enjoying, but the only person who has thus far liked the video has been my mother.
Your mom, yeah.
So just in case you guys want to know kind of, how far we're reaching and how much people love us, my mom thinks we're doing great.
Well, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. So, So,
I mean, let's say, my mother hasn't liked this video. So
no. Exactly. I like John said Penn, Jersey, Delaware. So I took out flowers. I put Penn, Jersey, Delaware, even though I think we could do a whole Jersey or a whole Delaware.
Oh, please let's not do a whole Jersey, anything. That's
All right, number 9, we're going to go with Lambda. This is a team that obviously has a very rich history. They are a 3-time Quizzo Bowl winning team. So I'm not a huge surprise. This is a legit program. I think they struggled early on. They're a little bit older. I think they struggled with the technology, but now that they're comfortable with it, I think we're seeing them as a legit top 10 team. Let's go to number 8, the Johns. Carl, is this one of your teams, right?
Yeah, these are this is a amalgam of my my softball buddies. They're not just championship rec league co-ed softball players. They're pretty strong Quizzo players as well. Consistently high scores every week. They've got a real pop culture maven in Rachel. They've got an old school trivia nerd in Pat Mulhern, and their captain Mike Casey, for better or worse, makes the ultimate call in the end. I think
they actually won. I think they actually won the office quiz this past week.
They did actually, yeah. So like I said, some serious pop culture knowledge on that team, and some anything geography or international type stuff. It's pretty easy for them. Just an all-around really good team.
I had a suggestion for musicals. Is that just
music or musicals?
Musicals.
No. Johnny, I've been waiting 10 years for this quiz. Let's make it happen.
All right, so no. All right, so speaking of you and your team, you guys are. What are we at? 2, 4, 6. You're 7th in the rankings. You're coming off a huge victory in the World Cup.
Yeah.
You've created a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, and I would tell people at home, look, like you guys play the first quiz of the week. You don't see the questions first. And I get it. You don't trust me. I'm full of shit. I get that. But come on. What do you think Carl would really let you know the answers before the quiz starts? No, come on. He's a man with some integrity. So some.
That's right. I think the fact that the first round of the World Cup came down to one of the Quizzo hosts and one of the Quizzo hosts' significant other has nothing to do with how legitimate or illegitimate this operation is. Underground Bart, full of surprises. This team is poised to take the whole thing once again.
We hope not.
It's really bad for business, J Mike.
Yeah, no, it's a bad look for us just from an optics standpoint.
I got to say, there are two questions I hear at the beginning of many of my quizzes. One of them is always, oh, well, what did Underground Bart score this week?
Mm-hmm.
And the other question I hear usually during some sort of impossible round quiz that a team thinks no one should know, they'll say, oh, did J Michael write that one? So
nice.
Those are two questions I hear most often during my weeklies.
And I feel
the two questions I hear the most are Johnny who and who's Carl. It's just weird. It's just weird.
It is weird. I feel like a natural segue, like as smooth of a transition as you can make, is into the Zodiac Killers, led by Anthrax Ames, who, the word conspiracist doesn't even do him justice. He's convinced the entire the entire World Cup was a complete shakedown. Although you guys have never claimed your gift certificates, so whatever even with the victory, you've still never earned a single dollar in prize money.
That is correct.
Anthrax is absolutely convinced that this was all a total shakedown from the top to bottom. But they have a very good team. And they're fun to host because they just yell at each other for 40 straight minutes.
Yeah, I have to say, probably, they've been my regulars every week the past few months. And, no offense to any other team, they are the most fun to observe play the game because there is not a single question, whether it's easy round, impossible round, or in between, where someone can get the answer in there without some sort of side swipe at somebody else on the squad. I love it. I love every second.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'll be honest. I'm a little disappointed that they have bypassed me for Carl. I'm assuming it's because Carl sends out the notices in time and does a professional job. Mm-hmm. Which but for them, I guess that's important. All right, so let's move on now to, what is this? What do we mean? Fifth. All right, fifth place team, Social Distance Warriors. Everybody knows who these guys are by now. They are, they won the April Madness. They were runner-up in the World Cup, and now they're fifth place in SummerSlam. This is a team that a long time played at O'Neill's. Very, very well-known team at O'Neill's, and have somehow taken their game to another level because they've they've played Quizzo Bowl almost every year and never really were a contender. And now whatever, I don't know if they're just better online or what, but this is a legit contender.
Well, there's a couple things going on. First of all, shout out to the best logo in Quizzo. This logo has all the elements.
Good one.
It's modeled after the Golden State Warrior. It's just
it is a beautiful logo.
But yeah, I think having hosted them at O'Neill's the last couple years, I don't know that they always have a full squad going, and they still manage to win there quite often.
Right.
So the virtual format has helped. I also think, when Steve, their captain, is in the zone, he doesn't have a Flyers game to watch while he's playing Quizzo. That guy is locked in, and he's a quiet leader. He lets everyone else, say their piece. He deliberates a little bit, and he always seems to come up with the right answer on any coin flip scenario.
And I think I think they're a little bit less drunk at home than they are at O'Neill's, and I think that
Flyers.
Yeah, I think they reach their peak buzz at home, because I think at O'Neill's they go pretty hard, and I think at home they balance it, because you don't want to be sober, because then you're going to get them all wrong, because you're just all tensed up, but you also don't want to be hammered. And I feel like they really hit that sweet spot playing from home. Doug Peterson has COVID. Breaking news.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
wow. To think I'd hear news like that from you was really.
Or 15th, folks. So always tune in.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's why you have to tune in every week, because we're gonna, we're gonna break anything that breaks. All right, 4th place, Boys to Menehune. These guys are legit. They've been a top flight team throughout all of our tournaments, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, no surprise here. They're just a solid team.
Solid.
They're a little bit more like, it's funny because I feel like our teams kind of run the gamut from nerdy to geeky, and they're a little bit heavier on the geeky side. And I've always thought of like geekiness as being more of a geeks who drink thing, and us being more of a nerds who drink. But these guys have proven that the crossover, the Venn diagram of the two things isn't as far apart as maybe I thought it was. Yeah, these guys.
Well, it's clearly working for them.
Yeah. I mean, they're a legit top 5 team every time we host a season. Like, these guys are the real deal. In 3rd place, expired Walmart meat. And yeah, I mean, these guys have been right near the top all 6 weeks.
Yeah, they don't miss very often. Another shout out to one of my regular teams here. They're a joy to host for. They're always just having a great time playing. I feel like they've discovered the true wealth of knowledge in their leader, not necessarily their captain, but definitely their number 1 player is Trey. He just shocks them every time with the kind of in-depth knowledge he has of things from origami to, some random country's capital. They defer to him a lot, and it very rarely leads them astray. Just a really, really good team.
I can't find any more than like the top 4 comments. So if anybody is smarter than me, wants to see other suggestions, and by anybody that's smarter than me, I mean both of you. If you want to look at other suggestions for round topics, you go ahead and let me know so I can add them to the wheel, because we're going to spin the wheel at the end. We're going to determine our topics. I will say I've seen one of the most disturbing comments I've ever seen on the internet. Somebody's actually asking where Chip Chantry is.
Wow.
Yikes.
Man. Yeah. Yikes. God. I mean, it has been 4.5 months of quarantine. I mean, this is what happens after 4.5 months. Like, you'll even take a few minutes of Chip Chantry at this point for entertainment. I mean, it's really, we're all going through a tough time. All right. So let's go to number 2. And this is another one of my favorite logos.
Great logo.
Smells Like Quarantine Spirit is the name of the team. And this is a bit of a Philly celebrity on the team. And they're new. Like, they just started with this tournament, and they're number 2. Fans since 2009, who some of you may remember has solved various Philadelphia crimes on Twitter. Fans since 2009. He's a member of the team, and they don't mess around. Like, they come on. I mean, honestly, when I host for them, the quiz is normally over in 20 to 25 minutes.
20 minutes,
They're the anti-drunk parents. Like, the drunk parents team, Aaron Howard and that crew, like, they would play for 3 hours if they could. But, like, these guys just boom. But, like, it's all business. They're not there to, they're not there to gallivant. They're there to lay it down. And these guys are legit. And I think, again, it goes back to what we said earlier about having some fresh blood. These guys are fresh blood, and they are legit. So number 2 after 6 weeks is no joke. Let's go to number 1. and they sent us a really tiny picture for their logo. So it's a really sort of almost an anticlimactic.
Yeah, this is definitely their fault, not your Zoom ability. But yeah, it's.
Thank you, Carl. Absolutely.
It's Cool Cats and Kittens.
So they are number one. You might not be able to see it, but yes, Cool Cats and Kittens. And they've won a bunch of Sunday night quizzes. They've taken over the top spot. This is a tough team. I feel like, and they and Sofa Kingdom have a little bit of bad blood now, which could get really interesting in the finals, because Sofa Kingdom got really mad when they lost to these guys in the movie quiz. Carl, you think this team has got what it takes to win the title?
I do. Every time I think a question might find their weakness, it could be anything, sports or something else. They pull it off. They have just a wealth of knowledge. They're one of the few teams in the league actually that is predominantly women, which is interesting. They have there are a lot of theater backgrounds, so nothing slips by them on sort of the questions that are tougher for other teams, I think, with the exception of J Michael's, of course. But yeah, there's like no corner that they don't have some knowledge base in.
I have to say, I hosted these folks maybe 2 times now. It's always a good time. Super impressed with their level of knowledge. They are the team to beat right now for sure.
Yeah, and they like you said, Johnny, they are so motivated, not only to leave Sofa Kingdom in their dust, but to claim this crown. They have their eyes on the prize, and they are fired up about it. I love it.
Yeah, and I think that's going to really be when the reporters start coming around in the build up to the big event. I think one of the narratives that they're really going to focus on is going to be this sort of new guard, right? The Cool Cats and Kittens, Smells Like Quarantine Spirit, Expired Walmart Meat, Boys to Mini Hoonie. These are all fairly these aren't regulars.
Right.
And then you've got some of these old school regulars like Lambda, like Sofa Kingdom, and the Branch Covidians and Dwayne's World, who are looking up at these new teams. It's going to create quite a it's like it's like the schools consolidated, and the cool kids from both schools have to try to find a way to make it work. Terrible analogy.
Whole new ecosystem here.
Yeah.
Changing of the guard is always fun to see in any sport. Anytime dynasties fall and new ones arise. I could see us talking two tournaments from now about how everyone is sick of Cool Cats and Kittens winning, and they become the new Sofa Kingdom. So interesting dynamic there.
All right.
I did find I found a couple of more topic suggestions in the comments, Johnny. One, I know I'm biased, but I'm seeing a lot of enthusiasm for Broadway musicals. There's some folks in there that think that is a great idea. I do see that Arisha from Ukraine says that is a terrible idea.
Arisha.
There is a call. We have to judge this by the fact that we consider it a valid topic, but we're also huge fans of Ori and that entire team.
That's correct. The
Membrane team is one of our favorite teams.
That's correct.
Is one of our favorite players, so we have to.
So that opinion has to weigh more.
Right.
I see a suggestion for TV, specifically TV from the '60s through the '90s. I will say one of my non-tournament teams. Quick question: Heidi and Tom on that team did ask me when we were going to do '60s TV. So you can.
Okay, the answer to 60s TV is never, but I will say TV. I will add TV as a round with a guarantee of a 60s round. Okay?
There you go.
So that's where I'm willing to, that's where I'm willing to mess around. Now, I like ideas like Russian literature and so forth, but I would rather do a Russia week. I would rather do Russia. I don't think we can do Russian literature. I think Russia is a legit topic. Russian literature is a little rough. I love Tolstoy as much as anybody. Don't get me wrong.
I'm seeing a suggestion here for cocktails. I know we've done alcohol in the past.
I mean, we could do booze. We could make that a topic. I think we can add booze. I mean, just in general, not just cocktails, but wine and beer. All right, I'll add that.
Truth is, Johnny, we can write to any Quizzo content, mind you, and we are available for private events.
Corporate events, folks, which we are just going to charge you out the wazoo for, but we can write so well for them. It's going to be money well spent. And so if you're sitting there and thinking to yourself, oh, we have to have a meeting on Zoom every day and it sucks. What if it was fun? We can do that. And so it's a great point, Carl, as to how awesome the private and corporate events are that we host.
Indeed.
And yes. And so if anybody wants to do that, or if you know somebody that wants to do that, let us know, because we've been doing a fair amount, but we need to do some more so that we can finally leave you little people behind. You know, I think that's obviously the business's ultimate goal is just to sell out to Wall Street so we don't have to do these rankings on a Sunday night, right?
Yes.
Like, you know, for all these, like, you know, talking about the 32nd place team, like, we don't have to do this anymore. We dress in really nice suits and we go up high in the Comcast Center and host really, really swanky events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what changing of the guard. We can't wait to just be big quiz rather than the little guy scratching and clawing under the guy.
No, I've been scratching and clawing for 20 years now. Like, I'm done with that, and I can't believe I'm still here with you people. You know, like I'm ready for the tuxedos. I'm ready to be feted with, you know, the roast beef dinners at the Four Seasons. And so if you are part of a company that wants to host a big corporate event, that will still be virtual because of the current pandemic, but wants to put me up in the Four Seasons to make it just add that touch of class, let us know. Shoot me an email.
Johnny, I've never been more sure of your prospects in this endeavor than the fact that you just referred to a roast beef dinner as the fanciest you can think of. So good luck to you. And we'll be here next week.
Yeah, who are we kidding? All right, folks, we'll be doing this for a while. Okay, so I think we're ready to spin the wheel. I think we're ready to determine our topics. I'll bring this over. You guys see the wheel?
Not yet. Still seeing the spreadsheet.
All right. Well, let's try it again. Surprised this didn't work. Normally these things always work the first time. There we go. All right, so there we go. I really appreciate the fact we have ephemera. I don't even know what that means. I just love that it's on the list. If that wins.
I hope it wins. This is for next week's quiz?
No, this coming.
Yeah, so tomorrow.
Yes, I mean, a lot of people at home probably think we already wrote this week's quiz.
Yeah, I don't want anyone thinking that we write these things.
So if ephemera wins, you've got about 12 hours to learn what it means and fashion a quiz after it.
We've done more with less.
Yeah, yes, we have. All right. So is there anything else? Anybody else add any other topics that last minute topics that I should know about before we spin the wheel? Yeah, we decided against opera singer picture round. The feature. I like the feature idea. That's interesting. Yeah, so we got a lot of people said musicals. So yeah, definitely worth having on there. All right. Yeah, I think we're good. I think this is a good list to choose from.
All right.
So let's give the old win a spiel. Let's give the old wheel a spin, and let's find out what this week's topic is going to be. There we go. Come on, not ephemera.
Oh boy.
Games.
Wow.
I mean, I feel like leisure is too close to games.
Yeah, we could just replay last week's quiz.
Yes. Same questions. How well do you remember them? All right, let's do a new one. Screw games.
Totally legit operation. No one will ever
Breakfast.
question.
The Zodiac Killers don't have a point at all.
I like breakfast. I think breakfast is a fun idea.
All right.
I think this is a fun quiz to write. So yeah, I'm much more excited about writing this than writing the exact same quiz we did last week. So breakfast is going to be this week's topic. What does that mean? We don't know. But we'll know hopefully by tomorrow at 7. And if we don't, we'll just push your team back to a later date.
That's right. Yeah.
So, all right, gents. Nice work tonight. Yeoman's work. Obviously, the fans just love the show. I mean, we were up to like 26 viewers at one point. So
wow.
Yeah. So I mean, people love it. They love what we're doing. We're pretty big stars, and nice job making this happen. And in the one thing too, if you're listening, if you're watching at home, like we're gonna have another season coming up this fall. And we've been discussing a bit what that's going to look like. And I think that any feedback anybody at home wants to give in terms of what you've liked, what you haven't liked, what's worked, what's not worked from our previous 3 seasons, the next 2 weeks are when to let us know. Because I think we want to make sure that the fall event, because I think summer, it's so awesome we've had this many teams sign up for summer when there's 100 things going on. Like in the fall, there's not going to be shit happening. So I'm expecting like some more teams. So, we want to figure out what our setup's going to be. So let us know. You can shoot comments underneath here. You can DM me at Johnny Goodtimes Quizzo. And we'll, we should hopefully in a couple weeks let you know what the fall season's going to look like. So, all right, gents. Good talk tonight. We got any picks? We got any picks for who we think's going to win it all?
I can't bet against Cool Cats. I just feel like they're a team of destiny right now.
Okay, so are you saying that for regular season win and big event win?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. J Michael, obviously you've got some skin in the game.
Yeah, I gotta say I don't see Cool Cats being knocked out of that number 1 spot for the regular season over the next 2 weeks, but in the end, it'll be Underground Bard walking home with their second victory of the year.
Wow, and maybe this time they'll even claim their gift certificates. All right, so
you could mail those to me.
That's enough. That's enough.
A little bit of a pandemic going on. I'm really in a rush to get out of the house.
Right. All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for joining us, and we'll see you back here probably in a couple weeks before the big event happens. We're gonna have a whole to do. We'll have a whole big show, tuxedos and so forth. So we will see you back here in a couple weeks. My name's Johnny Goodtimes. Take it light.